Hi, my name is Beverly, and my TED Talk is going to be about GMOs in agriculture. So first things first, what are GMOs in agriculture? GMO stands for genetically modified organism. In agriculture, it is specifically plants or crops whose DNA has been genetically modified through genetic engineering. There are tons of GMOs, but common examples are corn, soybeans, and potatoes. Now, how are GMOs used in agriculture? GMOs are used to add desirable traits to plants or crops that don't already have them naturally. These traits could be added for the resistance of pests, herbicides, viruses, or disease, or even the enhancement of nutritional qualities. So, how do we get there? How do GMOs work? Well, number one, we must decide on a trait we'd like to add to a plant or crop. For example, we'd want a plant resistant to pests. Number two, we find an organism that naturally has it. For example, Bacillus thuringiensis, or Bt. Number three, we copy the gene. Number four, we insert the trait into the plant or crop's DNA. This can be done in many ways. For example, using gene guns where tiny metal particles coated in DNA are shot at cells. Agrobacterium, which is a bacteria that will transfer the genes, or microinjection, where a tiny nail inserts the trait. Lastly, number five, we allow the plant or crop to grow. What are the risks or negative implications? Many worry about genetically modified plants breeding with natural plants, but research has shown no large impacts from it. There's also a worry about antibiotic resistance. There's also risk with changes to the nutrition or creation of toxins. There's also a possibility of ecosystem imbalance. There are concerns about creating superweeds or superpests. Some mutations in the crop could result in allergies or health problems. Some crops could be harmful to other animals when ingested. As with all things, there are also ethical controversies. From a religious standpoint, people argue that it is wrong to play God when adding traits unnaturally. There's also an argument of putting GMOs under intellectual property, whether people could own or copyright the genes of crops. Despite all these things, there are many more benefits. GMOs in agriculture result in larger crop yields, meaning there's more food that is more accessible and affordable. This leads to increased food security. Having GMO crops also means less pesticides because crops can create their own. GMOs also improve conditions for farmers and workers. For example, less sickness from pesticide exposure. GMOs are sustainable. They reduce climate change as there are fewer CO2 emissions. Some crops even have better nutrients that can help with things like deficiencies in different areas. For example, golden rice. As a whole, GMOs are an amazing new biotechnology and can be extremely beneficial to the world around us. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk.